And welcome back to Blackie's Bulldog Tavern, home of the Mike Pressler Show. Mike Mancuso once again joined by the head coach of the Bryant Bulldogs, Mike Pressler. And Coach, time to look back at the season that was here in 2012. You finished 14-4, regular season NEC play 4-1, but you win the NEC tournament. You're perfect 7-0 at home. You had a 10-game winning streak in the middle of the season. And your 4 losses this year were by just a combined 5 goals. 2 losses were in double overtime, and you only had 1 loss that was by more than 1 goal. That was the 2-goal loss against Colgate in the season opener on the road. You also became the first Bryant team to win a Division I postseason title. You put all the tournament stuff aside, though. What was your favorite moment of the season, and what were some of the more memorable games for you?
I think that my favorite moment first comes to mind was the Drexel game. You know, we're down 5-0 with 3 minutes to go in the third. I mean, 0. Never been part of that in my life, where we went almost 3 quarters without a goal, and then we find a way to come back and win 7-6. That turned our season around. And then the second one is beating our rival, our neighbor, your alma mater, Mike,
Yep.
Brown University, and to do it and secure the Ocean State Cup for the second year in a row, in the 3-way kind of tournament between us, Brown, and Providence. I think those 2 games in particular are probably the most memorable for me.
Yep, and this year's Ocean State Cup, both games you had to play on the road at Providence College and at Brown. To do it on the road, I think, a little bit more special. Of everything your team accomplished this season, though, what were you most proud of?
I was most proud that we were so competitive in every game. There wasn't one game, one moment where there was really a lapse, where we were flat or anything like that. We just battled for 18 games, 77 practices from January 20th. You know, and I say the lacrosse season here in New England is an endurance test. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You know, we go through the weather changes, and that part of it, from the first day of practice to the last day, number 77, you know, we worked at it, we tried. Their effort was absolutely, of all the years I've coached, I never had a team that practiced better.
And I think it definitely showed in the performances we saw, in the overall record, and all the postseason accolades, everything that followed. What do you think, though, were the biggest keys to success offensively this year?
I give it the credit to Brad Ross. His second year of his system, our guys really got a handle on it. We were so much better in the box offensively. And then Jamison Love makes our transition game go. You know, when he catches those balls and those shots catch equals an outlet to transition. But I think, you know, again, Brad Ross gets the credit there, and his relationship with the offensive guys is very cohesive. They understand what he's trying to coach and communicate, and they certainly respond.
Yeah. And what about on the defensive end?
Just a brand new unit back there, and Connor Dent, freshman, Matt McGrady, sophomore, Glenn Mayrano, junior. 3 new starters that have come together and just have a spectacular year defensively and exceeded my expectations. And the beauty of it is we got them all back next year.
Exactly, that is a beautiful thing. Now, with every passing season, you're going to lose players at graduation. This year, you guys had 6 seniors. Why don't we come up with a few words to describe each guy, starting with Max Wiesenberg?
Max is one of my guys, one of my first recruits here. And Max came to Bryant when Bryant wasn't as fashionable to come to, as I said before, as it is today, and just been an integral part of our success in the midfield. You can always count on Max. I think he's been a 4-year starter for us, a guy in extra man, so reliable, so dependable, and a young man I'm going to miss, not only on the field, but certainly off it.
Yeah, Matt Larson.
Phenomenal athlete. Way he overcame his senior year back injury, redshirted him, went through 3 months in basically traction almost, and grad student here. And then Matt's, you know, answer to me when I asked him, can you play defensive midfield after the Colgate game? And he didn't bat an eye. He made a position change, no more offense for him. It was best for our team. And that commitment, that team guy that he is, separates Matt apart from others.
Although the offense didn't totally leave him as he came up with that overtime game winner against Stony Brook. Travis Harrington.
Travis is as blue collar as it comes, our most physical Dodger. Nails tough on attack. If you saw him ride in his last game against Mount, he was spectacular there. A young man that I have a very close relationship to because we have a lot of common interest in the outdoors. And Travis and I talk. We seldom ever talk about lacrosse. We talk about, hunting or fishing or, our passions away from lacrosse. But I'm going to miss Travis immensely.
Tim Clinton.
Tim, just a guy, another team guy, very similar to Matt Larson, a guy who got beaten out in the preseason as a senior, never flinched, never pouted, never said, woe was me, just kept battling as our fourth guy. Then eventually kind of beat Connor Dent back out at the end of the year and had a remarkable 4-game stretch and a great tournament. And Tim is so reliable, so you can count on him. And he's another young man, and like the other 5, we're really going to miss.
Rob Mairano.
Bulldog Bob, the oldest of the 3 Mairanos, and a guy that, 2-time captain, transferred from the Naval Academy, and Bob and I see the world a lot alike. And he's one of my guys, and I say that very, very proudly.
And of course, the last senior, Jameson Love.
I can first tell you this, Mike, we're his number 35. We're going to put that in the rafters for a while. There's no way I can start next fall and see a number 35 on anybody else. And in my 30 years of coaching, as great a player as he was that better a leader. His fire, his emotion, we're not going to be able to replace that. And what he did over the course of his career, and all his accolades this year, Defensive Player of the Year, Tournament MVP, a 3-4 student, the atypical, this is the guy you want representing Bryant University on the men's lacrosse side of things. And when I think of Jameson, it's very emotional for me that I'm not going to get a chance to coach him. And but he's going to graduate here soon, and like all the other guys, our relationship will change, which I look forward to. No longer the coach and player, but more coach, player, and great friends.
Right. Certainly a wonderful senior class, and it's always exciting to see what they do over the course of their careers and then what they do beyond that as well. As we take another look again at the season as a whole, some of the final numbers you guys wound up with. Offensively, averaging 11.78 goals per game, second in the NEC, number 11 nationally. Defensively, 7.54 goals against, number 1 in the NEC, number 7 nationally. Ground balls, 37.28 per game, number 1 in the NEC, and number 1 in the entire country. Just unbelievable stuff. A lot of that attributed to Kevin Massa, who was number 1 in the NEC in faceoffs. You guys as a team, number 1 in the NEC in faceoffs, and also number 3 as a team. And caused turnovers, 8.5 per game, number 1 in the NEC again, and number 9 nationally. Glenn Mairano leading the way in the NEC with 1.83 per game, and he was 15th in the country as well. Turnovers, 15.5, number 2 in the NEC, and number 35 nationally. So maybe that's an area I'm sure you'll be looking for a little improvement next year. And the man-up unit, 22 of 65, good for 34%, number 3 in the NEC, and 34th nationally. And finally, the man-down unit, 44 of 59 on the penalty kill, good for 75%, number 1 in the NEC and number 10 nationally. When you look at all those numbers and you kind of see where you ranked in the conference and all those, how does that make you feel?
Well, again, if you're 14-4 and 6-1 in the league, you're going to have numbers like that. But there's high bars for the future, and there's high standards for the future here. And I think the most impressive one to me is the face-off stat for us, conference and nationally, and then obviously the ground ball stat, because that's just a tough category. And that just comes back to who we are and how this thing was built. We're just a lot tougher than a lot of teams we play, and the ground ball stat certainly shows that.
Well, Coach, that just about does it for the show this year. Again, congratulations on everything.
Thanks, Mike, for everything.
It's been a great season of shows, and we wish you the best in the offseason, and hopefully get a chance to do it again next year. We thank you all for watching the Mike Pressler Show here on Ocean State Network.